Never really. Yeah, there's a lot of clerks.
To get you the message.
I bought a cheap one, and the guy, $155 for that one.
So you did buy your stuff. Yeah, that.
It's kind of cool. The
County itself, I mean,
Got us.
Any council session? Good to see you.
I don't think like.
Excuse me. Thank you. We have a bunch of awards and resolutions. The school in Chicago will be here. We're gonna be the one with the veterans court. Judge will be here?
Yes, ma'am. In force.
All right, of course. All right, next up is resolution.
We had an employee leave the office. She was supplemented because she translated for us. The new employee will not be translating for us. So therefore, we didn't feel she was entitled to the supplemental pay that the other person got for that purpose. But she was one of those folks that were in that limbo when you raised everybody to that minimum of 40,000. She didn't get raised to 40,000 because she was receiving the supplemental pay. Now that this person isn't entitled to, I'm asking for that minimum $40,000 in that salary line item.
I'm gonna talk to the judge and Joelle and both. Explained a little bit what we're going to be discussing in the future regarding supplemental. She's good with
We're
it,
good with that.
which is good. I got, what, 16 more judges to talk.
I can help. I'm the chief judge of Bldg County right now, so I can kind of help you,
My help, all right.
translate some of that to everybody else.
Thank you. But I'm good with this, and then we'll be working with Scott in the future.
Okay.
All right?
Any other questions from anyone? I thought there was some discussion about, are we eliminating the supplemental pay?
I was just gonna leave it there until we found out from you all what your plans were for the future with that. So I was just gonna leave it idle until budget time, till we knew what going forward. Because I had some discussion with Councilman Hamp about maybe eliminating supplemental pay altogether. So I didn't want to do anything with it until we knew what the council's plans were.
So I'm
And
good.
obviously, you do what you do, we'll eliminate all the supplemental pay.
But this judge is good. Bridget Joe.
Thank you.
President,
Yes.
in just talking about the supplemental pay thing a little bit, I've been looking over all of this stuff and studying it, had a long conversation with Scott about it. I think what we have to do is look at each fund that supplemental pay is coming out of, its revenue source and its statutory framework.
We've done that.
I did it this week. Okay.
Sean actually put together.
Okay, yeah.
Right, we did it. There's,
We have to understand what can be shifted into those revenue lines, those funds, and what can't. So I think that's gonna be important for us to be able to parcel that out.
Yes.
and Scott understands that it's not like all of it's gone. Some of it's
Right.
dedicated.
Correct. But there are certain things that
I
are
was
part of
talking to
statute
Scott
and other
earlier.
things that we have a little more flexibility with.
So we'll wait closer. Time moves on so we don't jump.
Well, I'm starting my study of it now because I know how quick budget season comes on us.
I know. That's why I talked to
Blink of an eye.
and the court administrator here.
We have to get it right.
So we have no qualms with cooperating with the council on however that plays itself out, but I just don't want to eliminate that line item until I know what their all's plans are.
And as Tom said, Sean has already gone through 31 ordinances that support supplementals. She's already read through and done a nice job answering what you just.
Yeah, I was reading through some of the stuff in the ordinances too, picking out the codes, but I'm glad that we have one of our legal experts doing it.
And so we won't eliminate all supplemental pay. Some of it there's.
No, that might be required.
Tom and Scott were talking about it. I was sitting in the room recently as this morning, so we're all on the same page. I got a little over my skis last meeting. We can take our time and do this as budget. Just need cooperation from the department.
Absolutely, I'll help make sure that that comes at least from the judiciary.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome, thank
And
you.
then you're gonna be here, Judge, for the.
I'll be here Tuesday because the Veterans Treatment Court is getting recognized, and I heard a rumor I might be getting put on the board.
People.
We just have a couple of things. One is an ordinance, created for the Lake County Juvenile Center Tower Farm Project Grant Fund. It's a non-recurring fund, it's $400. And 7 is, creating a new line item for the CASA Cassidy Building Grant Fund, other supplies, and transferring from advertising to other supplies, $3,000.
Yes, I got the notes you sent me. But
We do the flowers, do we give them out? Do we sell them?
Yeah, we sell them to different restaurants and places, Asparagus, Geno's, kids go and they learn how to.
So they're fresh cut
Yeah,
flowers? Thank you.
Okay.
Planning Commission?
Good morning. Planning Commission has a pair of zone changes, the initial steps before they go through the subdivision approval process. The first one owned by Pam Perky, she wants to create a second lot so her son can build down there on their property. It's way down South Cedar Creek Township, south of 205th. And the other one is listed Joshua Thompson. They come in for a zone change earlier. They had a property line adjustment. So the property that they gained to make part of the subdivision was not zoned rural residential. So this was a corrective action to a previous zone change to make sure the entire parcel has a prerequisite rural residential zoning before going through the one lot subdivision approval process.
Any questions?
No objections.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Highway. What? Oh, did I, hurt somebody?
Weights and measures.
Oh, wait a minute. Morning.
Coming in front of you all to ask you guys to request an additional appropriation for the $32,102 to cover the remaining vehicle payments for our fleet.
And this was from the vehicles that the commissioners had ordered.
Yes.
Does this include that extra vehicle? If I remember right, we had an extra vehicle that somehow ended up in an order.
So what had happened was, we didn't get an extra vehicle, we had got a different vehicle. It was supposed to be a caravan, but we had got 5 pickup trucks instead. So it was supposed to be 4 pickup trucks and a caravan, but they gave us 5 pickup trucks.
Yep.
Any questions, anyone? Thank you. Okay, now, highway.
We've been working with the auditor's office. They asked us to request an ordinance for a new fund for this year's for the 2024 number 2 community crossroads matching grant. They didn't want to reuse a prior number. So it's a $2.4 million grant. Our $1.23 million will come from seeded funds with the match. I can't tell you off the top of my head exactly where it is, but I will have that information for you. I know we're working on getting roads.
You gave it to us, it's in
Yeah. Any questions?
that P on you sure stand for planning.
I went to Indiana University. 2 of my daughters went to Purdue. They like to plan me out at Purdue. Whenever we put football, we did beat by 77 points in football. We're like, I'm sure you are, we're monitoring what's going on downstate. We're sort of being told that we may not be eligible for any future crossroad grants if we do not pass a wheel tax. But that's still up in the air. We won't know till the end of the legislative session.
Session's over.
Yeah, I believe it's not required, but I could be wrong.
Dwayne was monitoring that, he
Yeah,
just wanted
I
me.
believe it's not required.
And are we moving to the second?
Yeah. The Cambridge Fund.
Cambridge Fund, we're asking for an additional $2 million in Cambridge. There is a surplus there. We talked to Scott and Larry Blanchard. We're staying within the Cambridge, it's generating $2.5 to $3 million a year in funding. This year we have 6.3 million in bridge projects. We're going to take $1.7 million from the local roads and streets funds to complete the bridge projects. We'll be cutting down from 4.7 to 3 million in paving, but it is legal to use that fund for both bridges. We're putting a big bridge in Hobart and several small bridges. Comes to 6.3 million for this year. Dwayne again asked me to point out when you do your end of the year budget planning, we have not raised the Cume Bridge levy in 15 years, and wages and construction costs have gone up a little bit in that time.
How are the bridges to be replaced or repaired selected?
I think it's based off of every year we do bridge inspection reports, and they're federally mandated. Doing an interlocal agreement this year with Hobart. Hobart will do the street approaches to the bridge, which is about $2.5 million. Our costs for that bridge are 3.7. Doing a bridge on 45th Avenue over Hart Ditch. We're doing a bridge on Joliet Street over St. John Ditch. And then we're doing one on Parish Avenue over Cedar Creek this year. One on 213th over Hart Ditch, and one over Cedar Creek this year. I think we provided this year's bridge list, but I can give it to you again if you didn't have it.
And the worst bridges go to the top. Some of these are not our collective. They have, once there's a study, they go to the top.
Ryan, was my understanding that they started with LiDAR and they can scan these bridges, so they're developing this through like the ground penetrating radar and so forth. So these vehicles will be equipped with it, will be able to produce a three-dimensional image of the bridge simply by driving underneath it and inspecting the welds and the structure of the bridge, which should be it's pretty time consuming if you think of physically going out and inspecting a big bridge, checking all the weld points, where now it will be done with this I guess everything is ChatGPT now, right? I guess that's what it is, some type of artificial intelligence. It scans it, puts dimensions, inspects it, and that truly can expedite what you're doing. How do we know which is our worst bridges and how does it prioritize? And we've got thousands of bridges that are unsafe.
I have a question. When you are putting together these plans, because Charlie kind of stole my thunder there, he's reading my mind. How do you determine when there are bridges? Is this Hobart Bridge within the municipal boundaries? How do we determine that the county has some responsibility in that?
My understanding is the county has every bridge in the county.
Okay, yes. All right. I didn't know if any of them were strictly built within municipalities, like if there's a new development and there's a bridge over a creek or something.
I think we have 181 bridges in the county.
Anyone else?
Which is the lead up to the bridge? Is that a mile or what? You said units.
It would be each approach. All I know is that Hobart's kicking in 2.6 million for the bridge approaches.
I don't know actually, you mean that mileage?
If you're gonna replace or repair a bridge, what is the lead up property that has to be
Most of these projects are 2-year projects. This Hobart Bridge probably will not begin construction until next year. But we have to fund the project when we award the contract, is what we were told.
Do we know out of SB1 if these sorts of cube generated levy funds, cube levies are going to be impacted as far as what we can reestablish? in those funds and what's the impact possibly on the general fund levy?
I don't have that.
I didn't know if in your, many times diving into that bill that was something that had been pulled out of that.
Nothing stood out from that aspect.
I would say that those sorts of Q funds, we need to really look at to make sure that we have it properly numbered, make sure that we can do the projects we need, because we're gonna be taking, this reform is gonna have a trickle down effect to everything that we do.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
All right, Lake County Sheriff.
Good morning. On the agenda, we have a couple items, and this is in the process of making sure we're spending money out of the right accounts. So you'll see one that we're creating a sheriff's firearms training fund, and then we're moving money that we normally use from other equipment for the purchase of those things. We're moving under the sheriff's firearms training fund, $35,000 that we use specifically for that purpose, and that's in support of all of our firearms training for the entire department. And the other item is, again, money, we're not asking for any new money. This is just moving the money that is in our sheriff's DCE SP fund. That's for marijuana ratification that we do with the United States Police. We derive monies and a grant from that. We're moving that $15,000 from overtime into equipment repair, so we'll be able to utilize that for our helicopter, which is a big part of that unit. And we're working on some marijuana eradication programs throughout the spring and summer.
Questions? What do you want to do the diagram?
Is this unexpected overtime, like somebody's just calling up sick?
No, in this grant fund, we've never used that fund for overtime, but it's been, that money's been in there year to year ever since this grant's been established. We don't use it for overtime. That grant we use for repairs to the helicopter. So we're taking it out of the overtime, putting it into the repair.
Any other questions? What other equipment are you purchasing? What equipment is the?
Which one, for the firearms?
For the training, yeah.
Yeah, that's gonna be things like ammunition for training, it's gonna be targets, parts for repairs for weapons, sometimes new weapons when they need to be replaced.
Right. Jack grant?
I'm requesting a transfer with the JAG 22 grant from other equipment to other supplies and other services and charges. And that's for an amendment from MMPD that was approved by the DOJ.
Questions?
You said Hammond PD?
Yes, Hammond Police Department.
This grant is shared with East Chicago, Gary, and Hammond.
Yes.
They all make separate draws depending on what their particular department of state support their operations. So this is what Hammond is requesting from their portion of that grant.
Always been those three communities, right, Chief?
And everything's approved through the Department of Justice before we bring it to you. They're all acceptable expenditures.
Any questions from anyone?
Thank you.
It's National Law Enforcement Week coming up, and I know the sheriff is sending some folks to DC to participate.
Yes, we're sending our
If you
entire.
have anything outstanding, you can let us know, and we can recognize folks in the next one. That's all I was.
No, I recognize some folks, but yeah. I'm doing some.
Good to be represented.
Still works on their wishes.
Yeah, there's a resolution.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. County prosecutor. Morning.
Morning.
I believe he's meeting with the sheriff right now.
Do it. There you go, Jake.
Keep him paid. First thing we have on the agenda is a grant application. This is a reimbursement grant with the Genesis Group. And that's will be, like I said, reimbursement for Mr. Turner's gun safety initiative. And then second, have 17 salary increases. This is all to replace supplemental pay. There's not gonna be any additional increases in here. And this is between three different funds. There's about 21,000 in supplemental pay from county general. I think about 219 from our 8295 fund and about 85 from our incentive fund.
So I went back and forth with Scott on this a little bit, and one thing that was asked was removing those supplemental pays.
Yes.
And that was something you said, assuming this goes through,
Yes.
we're gonna remove those next month.
Correct. Yes. And then Fund 4428 is non-council controlled, so I can just do that through a letter as well.
Jacob, what you're saying is they're already making this, those are already their salaries.
Correct.
We're transparent.
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, my thought when I spoke with was to deal with this at budget time. I think we all other departments. So see what the consensus is here, but go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, we're
Yeah,
just taking I guess the prosecutor is taking the proactive approach now and dealing with it, getting out of the way right now. It's like
And another thing to add with this fund is we do get reimbursed through the state. So we get reimbursed up to 100% up to, I think, $870,000. And then anything spent after that is 66% reimbursed. So even though it looks like a $282 or $1,000 increase, that's not quite what's going to be hitting county general.
I personally am okay with doing it now, getting it done, unless there's good reason to not do it.
These are all your general fund supplementals. Or it's from other
Other funds.
funds as
So
well.
funds that contribute to the supplemental pay, yes.
Okay, and we looked at the statutes and none of them require that certain things be paid supplemental. I think that's my concern. So we can look at that.
Okay.
Jacob, either Shauna or I will be able to leave
Okay.
in the next couple hours.
Assuming that we're good, I personally am good with this.
I got you.
Does the prosecutor himself receive supplemental pay?
He does not.
Yeah, his is statutory. Him and the sheriff. Don't look at me.
Okay. And just the final request is a transfer to cover that, the increases through the rest of this year. We've had vacant positions in paraprofessionals, which has contributed a good amount of that, as well as several employees on FMLA or workers' comp. So we'll be good this year with transferring that amount. And then next year, talk to Scott about eliminating the position out of county general too, to help balance it out.
Okay, thanks, Jake.
As long as we stick to that commitment.
Yes.
Otherwise it's, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Community corrections. Morning.
Morning, everyone. So, we already sent an email out to the Grant Oversight Committee, but I wanted to bring the rest of the council up to speed with respect to our request. So Community Corrections has submitted 3 requests to apply for grant application forms to renew 3 existing grants. For the first one, we have the Indiana Department of Corrections, IDOC, Community Corrections, and Justice Reinvestment Grant. For this one, Community Corrections is seeking approximately $4,450,000 in its fiscal year of 26 grant funding to continue 6 existing programs through December 31st of 2026. This IDOC grant provides primary support for our residential work release program, community supervision, which is electronic monitoring, day reporting, community transition court, therapeutic intervention court, veterans court, and our adult drug court. This is an advanced grant and no local matching funds are required. As for the second renewal, we have the Indiana. Yes.
So does it fund Judge Cantrell's Veterans Court? Or do we have more than one?
We have more than one.
So we work in collaboration with Cantrell's Veteran Court. They have like essentially for our second one, problem solving court. We are at least applying for the 3 courts that we, get for our problem-solving court funds. However, Cantrell applies essentially for the Veterans Court problem-solving court. It's a whole collaborative effort with the courts, so they do have their own case managers, but there is like teamwork provided.
Right, anyone have any questions? So far, okay, go ahead. Number 2.
So the Indiana Supreme Court, Office of Court Services, problem-solving court grants for the fiscal year of 26, we're requesting approximately $135,000 in funding to support 3 of the existing problem-solving courts. This is the reentry, therapeutic intervention, and adult drug court. This funding will be used to support 1 drug court case manager, 2 part-time peer recovery specialists, staff travel and required training and conferences, participant milestones, participant transportation, and chemical testing supplies for compliance monitoring. This is also an advanced grant with no local match. And then as for the third one, this is the Safe the Supporting Addiction-Free Environments Grant administered by Geminis. This fund is, we are requesting $32,000 through the SAFE grant program to purchase drug screening supplies for compliance monitoring within community corrections programs. We are respectfully requesting or recommending that the council approve all 3 of these grant renewal applications. As always, I'm happy to answer any questions and provide additional clarification.
Questions?
In the case of that advance grant, we have the money, they send the money to the grants.
So the problem-solving courts, it's broken up into a payment schedule. The SAFE grant is advanced in 1 lump sum payment. As for the IDOC, the larger sum supporting a primary function of our program, they essentially break it up into a payment schedule where they advance a larger sum within the first month, and then it's divided up on a monthly basis of the funds that they receive. It is an advance grant, but there is a payment schedule of a monthly payment process.
Madam President,
Yes.
are any of these new grants or are these grants that you get every year that you apply for?
These are all renewed existing programs.
Thank you.
Grants are better.
Thank you, Judge.
Thank you so much for your consideration. Thank you.
Enjoy.
Arts and recreation.
Morning. I had 2 things in the agenda, but I don't see one.
I see 2, A and B.
No, that's a.
Well, you thought you had something.
One, I'll get to that in a second. Let me deal with this first.
Might be able to add it on.
When we created the Cume Building Fund for the parks, a year or 2 ago, I had no intention of using that money for a while, let it build up. Well, we want to use that money, and we did not create line items, so we can't use that money. So it's really a bookkeeping kind of situation. We have some big projects, paving Stony Run, a land purchase, and I put some numbers in there that we'll revisit at budget time, given whatever projects are out there and whether Cume funds continue to exist. So we'll see.
I think they'll exist, but in what form and how much?
Well, there is that. There is that. The other one that I had sent up, and I don't know what happened, was asking for an appropriation increase of $450,000 in the 1107 land improvement line item. We have the cash balance. We always carry a hefty cash balance. It's about 1.8 million now. Trying to get other projects done, whether it's the dog park at Lemon Lake and fixing a roof here, whatever. It's undoubtedly more than we need, but I just never know, and anything we don't spend will roll over into next year's cash balance going forward. I just don't want to keep coming back and nickel diming everybody.
While the department is growing, are you tracking at all? How many people are attending the various county parks? Is there a way to measure that?
Yeah, we count. We do attendance at every park site. And it's a tough thing for a park manager to go, whatever. So we're somewhere annually between 800,000 and 1 million people. We also have contracted with a group called Placer AI. and it uses GPS and it measures cell phones coming in and out.
Do geofencing.
Geofencing. The problem is, like Bellevue, for example, you can't geofence kids. So even like a school group coming into Lemon Lake on a bus, it gets counted for the driver, but the 45 kids don't get counted. So we play a game. But we've done that going back to the 80s. We have tracked attendance. We also track expenses and revenues per cost center, like Lemon Lake, Stony Run, Bellevue's, the water park. And we create what we call a cost recovery. So if we spend $100 and we make $100, that's 100% cost recovery. The problem we're having now is that Oracle, under Lawson, it would provide a code that told me you worked at Buckley and Ted worked here and so and so. For the seasonals too, I can figure out full timers, but we have no way to cost labor easily to like the water park or Buckley or Lemon Lake. So we don't get the true expense of calculating the expenses, because labor is a huge deal. That's my one controllable asset.
You reached out to anyone to see if that financial software has the capability of parceling it out?
It's on my list. I gotta reach back out. At one point, there was so much going on, so I did not want to re-muddy or add more mud to the water, but we do track all that. And we're even going through some new analysis of some programs. We don't care if we generate revenue. It's for the public good. It's whatever. And then there are other programs that need to generate revenue, water park, Bellevue, golf courses, to pay for that other stuff. So we figure it all out and do the best we can. Or we are always at the mercy of the weather. So, as I'm sure everybody's aware.
Well, you guys have been doing a great job.
Well, thank you.
I'm gonna say that, and your board is outstanding, good appointments on there, everybody's working hard, and if you don't go to our parks, I can't encourage you. Gristmill, I'm at Maple Lake every day.
You clean up after yourself, which is almost, you clean up after Klaus, your dog, and other people.
I even got some extra poop bags over there, because I was like, maybe they'll think that's.
So to get that second one added,
It depends, you could see Tori and she could check with the.
I'll check with Tori,
It's the advertised appropriation.
if that's the case, I'll come back on June. So
I do have one,
Go ahead.
land purchases, and I've actually been thinking about this recently, like I drive by the driving range off of 231 there, the Cedar Creek golf course. I mean, I drive by there and I didn't know it's early in the year, but I don't see anybody there. Would you guys ever look at something like that and go like, this just doesn't make sense? We're gonna close it down and we sell off the property. You guys ever sell property?
No.
Is that just like, you would never do it, or you would not
I'm gonna
think
say
about
we'll
it?
never do it.
Okay.
Let's take Cedar Creek, for example, and that was a deal that we have Turkey Creek, and we didn't have a driving range, we didn't have a place to teach kids how to play golf. And the golf business has changed over the past 20 years, it's gone through things. Cedar Creek actually can be one of our more profitable park sites, particularly if the driving range is open. The problem with the driving range in the spring is it gets wet, and when you go out to pick balls, all you do is push the balls into the ground, so that's a problem. Cedar Creek has issues because of being on that ditch and water, and I think if anything ever happened to Cedar Creek, we would revert it back to natural areas and quite possibly sell off wetland credits and then restore it, and it would act as stormwater storage. A lot of our properties, some have value in terms of development, and a lot of it's bottom land. I don't know how many acres we own along the Deep River watershed and in wetlands, and that's one of our prime missions is to preserve that.
Right.
So, I'm gonna say never. Okay. In 5 years, if I'm still here, you could take me back up.
If you did want to, what we could do is Cedar Creek, what you could do is give it to Tim. Tim, we get some HUD money, we put some low income housing in there.
Okay, I'm just asking the question.
I just want to other municipalities like we did up at Walhalla Beach, because they had more of the wherewithal to develop and operate a certain piece of property, but we've always tried to keep it within the same framework. But a lot of our land we've purchased it with Land and Water Conservation Fund and other funds. We have conservation easements on it. And with Cedar Lake came to us at Lemon Lake because they wanted to do a water tower and they needed to put a fence around it. They needed some acreage at Lemon Lake in the back. We're like, fine. But according to the law, you have to replace that with like an in-kind property. So there are rules, and that goes all the way up to the Interior Department. It was like, geez, you're gonna put a fence up around some deeds, we don't care, but that's the law. You've got to follow what it says.
If you're selling off those credits, is that like actually, do you get quite a bit of money for that, or is that just really just pays for you to reclaim the land?
Yeah, well, we're doing work at Oak Ridge Prairie, and we're working with the DNR and a private company because we don't have the capacity to do it ourselves. Wetland credits are going for around $100,000 an acre credit, and we have about 70-some acre credits at Oak Ridge Prairie. And it's all kind of in flux because Lake Erie's opening again, but it's out there. So the nice thing about working with this other group, they're going to pay us up front. They're going to do the work. We're going to do that, but it is profitable. But we still have X number of people doing X amount of work and trying to stay on top of it. And if you don't maintain your standards and all, it gets pulled and you can get yourself in a little bit of dirt bag.
Yeah, if you sold it off, put it into some sort of endowment that would.
Yeah, and the goal would be to put money inside to support our natural areas programs, because nothing's free, not even maintaining natural areas.
Right.
And Oak Ridge Prairie, with that acreage and what's there, it all fits perfectly in terms of water storage, wetland, biodiversity, everything that we're about. And but we're working with a couple of other groups to pull that off. We just couldn't do it. It ended up taking longer than we thought. And the guy we worked with, and Steve had the audacity to pass away. You know, he was a very good friend of mine, and it's like, Steve, you know. But anyway,
Okay, thank you.
so see you all.
And can we be available?
Sure. I have an afternoon meeting up with my staff at Deep River, but call my cell.
I will, and if you can pick up, if not, shoot me back later, and just for the group, we'll hopefully have a price, hopefully we'll be able to have those estimates and we can make a decision over on forward. If not, then I will simply return the grant that we have obtained.
Well, then everything is so.
Yeah, I know, and well, you're starting up your season too, that's why I haven't been bugging you.
There's a lot of things going on, but then the real concern that we're having on everything, as everybody is, you can't predict a lot, and talk to Scott budget wise and how we're all gonna.
Right, send a bill one.
So anyway, thank you. See you Tuesday.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay.
In the state of Indiana.
Jim, you're up.
Well, we already. That's kind of feel like.
Am I?
Yeah. Wait.
Emergency management, health department, you got in there too.
Emergency management.
There you go.
And I didn't need my glasses.
Morning. Just here, to try to pay this budget in 2023 for the Microsoft. We thought we had us all resolved, but Microsoft sent us the wrong invoices. And then I found when I went to go pay them, I was $2.76 short. So just, yeah. I want to be at, just need to pay $175 out of due subscriptions, instead of what we were given, which was $172.24.
Questions?
Right.
Thank you. Okay. Health department? Oh, Sheila's not gonna be here. She'll be at the regular meeting. And I'll see it's an increase in pay out of the Indiana First Fund. Health First Indiana. All right, now you're up.
Good morning. We have a fund from back in 2021, which is a COVID fund for CDBG. And we used a lot of that money to help all the communities build the various plastic walls and buy cleaning supplies and, I mean, just masks, you name it. And that's what a big chunk of it was for. We also did a huge amount of business training and business grants. We did almost 200,000 in just that for the bunch of businesses, small businesses, the ones that are the mom and pops. It worked out very, very well. But that was some of the biggest expenditures. But we're trying to get rid of the fund. And what we were using for a line item to spend on office supplies, which is basically the masks and cleaning supplies and everything else, now they're telling us I have to have a separate line item for that. Well, they didn't do that until this year. And we were using a different line item before, so I don't know what's changed. They've asked us to change it, so we're changing it. That's what this one's all about.
So you're creating a line item, maintenance service contracts, but you're not asking to place any funds in there.
Well, yeah, it's from building improvements to other supplies. You take a look, that's what we've been using for 5 years, is building improvements for all the purchases we've done. That's what we normally have
Okay,
done.
I understand the transfer here. How does that connect to maintenance service contract line item you're asking? That's separate.
How are you gonna get money for line item?
Right.
Well, that's the maintenance and service contractors is in the general fund.
Right, so-
The other, I was talking about the other one primarily.
Okay, but you're asking for a new line item, but you don't need any money in there.
No,
So why create the line item?
because we've been asked to. And we're gonna create the line, and we're probably not gonna use that general fund. We will be for budget purposes coming up.
Ask about whom.
Downstairs.
Should you put some money in there?
I would think so. I don't understand why you need the line item if you're not gonna.
I mean, if you end up
use it,
needing it, then you're gonna have to transfer money
Is this-
into that,
is
I
it-
guess.
Eventually, yes.
Is it purchasing department that told you
Yeah.
you need that line item to pay certain things out of it? So eventually you're gonna be back next month or whenever maybe.
If we have something like a breakdown on the car, probably, but we're not, you know. There's some of those type of services that we have in there. We used to have a gas line item years ago, we got rid of that a long time ago, right?
You don't wanna put. Okay.
No, please don't, just even.
But it would be in a, well, he'd have to transfer for somewhere.
Right.
Or he could transfer from another line item that you are using right now, so. Okay, transfer. To me, it seems new. There's no reason to create it if you're not gonna use it, so. All right, transfer, you just explained. All right, anyone else have any questions?
So they didn't offer an explanation as to why we need to create a line item that's not gonna be used.
Well, it may be used, but it won't be used right away. I'm not expecting to be able to use it for a while. But I think they just wanted to have it there more than anything. Because what we were doing before was taking, well, they haven't argued about this yet, but what we were doing before, when we had maintenance issues with the cars, primarily the 2 cars we own, it came out of a different line item, but it also can be used for that purpose. So it's a matter of kind of, whatever, does it make a difference which line items come out of it? So we said, okay.
Sounds like something the prosecutor's office.
There you go. By the way, on Riverwalk, we donated the last 5 lots we think we had to do to Habitat, to be able to build the last 5 houses, to be able to meet the minimum requirement, we can get rid of it.
Amen.
And say we should have a party. Much closer.
That stuff started prior to me coming
Oh,
over here, huh? The Riverwalk, Lake Station and all that debacle over there.
Originally it was Timber Creek. Oh. I knew if I said the other name, you'd remember it. It was converted from Timber Creek to Riverwalk. Eons ago.
Madam President, you just, talked about the maintenance part of the cars and things of that nature. What service contracts do you all have that you
You know.
You don't have any.
Well, we do on one item, which is the printer, but we've had that literally forever. But in fact, that maintenance contract, I think is, service contract is now over because we paid that thing off and now we want to buy a new one, we have to go to another service contract, because that's now 6 years old or something, 6 or 7 years old. So that one should probably be. Pulse does a service contract when you get into, they supply a certain amount of materials. You just have to pay.
Any other questions? Thank you.
See you Tuesday.
Thank you.
Commissioners, anyone online for the commissioners?
I'm here.
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, everybody. Happy Thursday.
Do you have anything you want to comment on your interlocal agreement?
This was something for Commissioner Tippy to help out Cedar Creek Township and the roof repairs for the fire department down there. He was using it, some of his Monsanto money.
Questions? All right, thanks, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, county council, we have domestic violence as we have the judge resigned, so I reached out and Judge Julie Campbell is willing to serve on that board, so. Library boards, Gary.
I submitted, request, well, Mr. Farrick submitted a request for, to be reappointed to. The other gentleman did contact me, brothers, that Mr. Farrick made.
Hammond?
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone with these.
yeah, Tom, know that.
Are they sending letters?
Yeah, Tom said he wanted to be written.
Yeah. I asked him to send one to Tory's. I don't know.
Alright.
Tom's doing a good job, as a matter of fact, Tom was funded by his colleague there, because of it.
And lastly, we have our regional development authority appointments.
I spoke with him.
Randy?
He did, and he
sent a request to review.
Victoria, or I know there's been no one else.
Okay, anybody else have anything else?
No.
All right,